Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to a special live show, but you might listen to this not live. So if you're not, then still welcome in. But for a rare Fan Effect live show, it's just me today. The Bushido Geek Sam is working late today, but we got a good one. I'm excited about this. We got John Dexter joining us for your third time on the show.
Yeah. The time's the charm.
You haven't gotten sick of me yet. I haven't scared you away yet. So I think
No, not at all.
I think we're probably good.
No, it's my pleasure to. Thanks for helping me promote my new comic venture this month, this time around.
Yeah, I'm excited because I know last time you were on the show we talked about, I'm pretty sure it was issue 1 because I think Alpha Dogs was the first time that you were on the show. And for anyone that's listening, make sure if you're listening to this later, stay tuned till the end because we'll be playing a trailer for Dime Store Detective number 2, and then going over like how you can support that specific one. So make sure you stay till closer to the end so you can get ready for and see all that kind of stuff. But to start off, kind of what we talked about before, you had issue 1, kind of saw that to completion, publishing, kind of that whole 9 yards that happened. What was kind of that like relief of it's done, and then like being able to go to like conventions and kind of see this out in the world?
Yeah, it's as anybody who's ever done a Kickstarter, it's a lot of stress until you get funded. I'm very, very close, so hopefully it'll start. I still feel a little at ease here, but yeah, issue 1, it took quite a while for issue 1 to get funded, but we did. Dime Store Detective issue 1 got funded with 88 backers, and about $2,400, I think it was, but it took about I think it was like the last 10 days before I got funded, and I've got 21 days left. I'm about 96% funded, I think, right now, 95%. So
yeah,
we were on a better track than issue 1, which is always a great relief and makes you feel kind of positive that you're going in the right direction. So that's great. But we're really close, and hopefully we can hit some of those stretch goals as we go. But for issue 2, it was a little more expensive because issue 2 is 28 pages as opposed to issue 1, which is 24 pages. So a little more expensive, but more cover. There's 3 covers in Dime Store Detective 2, and a lot more stories. So hopefully people will give it a look. Even if the interview is terrible, at least stay for the trailer, because the trailer is a great payoff. I'm really proud of the trailer, and it really kind of encompasses the spirit of the comic book, that noir feel, that supernatural feel that I think is kind of missing in a lot of comic books. There's not a lot of these type of comic books. As particular for mine, you're not going to find a comic like mine on the shelves. It's got that cool detective mystery to it, but at the same time, it's a supernatural story as well. So I take 2 genres that I think are a lot of fun to read and to watch, and kind of combine them into this comic book. I pitch it as True Detective meets Stephen King's It, with a really dark episode of Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah,
and you get Dime Store Detective.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we had talked about in when we were talking about issue 1, is that LA noir kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Which I probably even repeat myself from what I said back then, but I personally love that, I guess, mystique of that era of like LA noir. I think it's unique enough and not replicated too much.
Yeah.
Like there's an old anime, I guess it's a new one, called No Guns Life that I really like, and it's very LA noir-esque, and there's really nothing else like that out there. And I think it's like the same thing with Dime Store Detective. It's very unique in the market in terms of you don't really see that. And again, for anyone that's listening, I'll be showing some images from the covers for issue 2, which definitely are gonna like give you some feels of like this mystery kind of thing. And then the very Dukes of Hazzard one that I think you were talking about cover that's there.
Yeah. The only difference with this one with LA Noir, this is Southern Noir, Georgia. North Georgia is where it takes place. We've got these moonshiners that are 4 generations who've been outrunning the cops in their souped-up Barracuda, as you can see, is one of the covers. And they're kind of respected and feared. But liked by the county. And then this gang from the Dixie Mafia, who were actually a true gang, the Dixie Mafia back from the 60s till some people even say going on today. So 40 years ago, they get into this war with the Dixie Mafia gang, who was trying to push out this family of moonshiners. And they're very proud people, and they end up going to war with them. And as issue 2 unfolds, we find out that the two cousins, the Mackinder cousins, inadvertently released this evil entity. And what happens, well, you'll have to tune in for. But
right, yeah,
we kind of go back and forth from that time period, 1981, 40 years ago, to the present, when Detective Mackinder, who's the son of the bootleggers, he comes upon this crime scene of the third victim of the serial killer, who's left in this Christ-like pose in the Appalachian Mountains. And her body is left over the burial grounds. The detective's father and uncle buried multiple bodies 40 years ago during their moonshine war. There's this connection to this evil entity that seemingly has returned after 40 years. And there's a lot of mystery to it, a lot of cool payoffs in the story that people will really enjoy. Like I said, it's not a story you're used to. If you like detective mysteries of like that old noir feel, and if you like supernatural stories, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's definitely a good thing to check out. It's just like this again, it's such a cool concept, and the artwork is amazing, and just the story is really good. What was I guess like what's it like now getting ready, like in doing this second one? What was kind of like the bigger like did you have to make any like big adjustments from doing this second time, or like what were like some of like the bigger takeaways that you were able to kind of like learn from the first
time? Yeah, I mean, this will be my 5th Kickstarter. I'm glutton for punishment, I guess. But yeah, it was tough with issue 1. I'm getting into a whole different genre. It's definitely much different than Alpha Dogs, which has kind of been my bread and butter, I guess you could say. People really have taken to Alpha Dogs, and I'm doing something totally different. So it was definitely a learning process from issue 1. So I kind of tried to get out there and kind of pitch it more to people, the Dime Store Detective, and they've kind of taken to it. I think some of the lessons I've learned was to make more covers. I only made 2 covers for issue 1, and really a cover is not that expensive, but you're making another comic, so in the long run, it's kind of cheaper to make more covers. I mean, I don't think I'm going to ever go over 3. I don't think there's a need for. I'm not that big of a name yet where I can have all these covers, but 3 covers.
Getting there though. Getting there though.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see.
So like with like kind of like seeing the story progress, like have you like seen yourself like going and adjusting like the story at all with this, like from like kind of seeing the success of like issue 1, or are you like, did you kind of already have it planned out? You're kind of like sticking with like that plan?
Well, all 8 issues have already been written. They were written I pretty much put them all, each issue in a day, because I was kind of living and breathing the story. And it, when you wake up and you think about the story, when you go to bed, you're thinking about the story and how to unfold it. Kind of, for me, I do it write better when, I kind of go all at once. That way you're not trying to remember where you left off. But there'll be a little adjustment. I'm not going to do another 28 pager. I'm going to cut. I mean, there might be 9 issues when it's all said and done, because 28 pages is just, it's very expensive. You wouldn't think so for extra pages, but it is. And so, and you can't really ask for too much more money, because, the Kickstarter, they're already paying kind of a premium. Now, with my prices for my Dempster Detective, you can get issue 2 for only $12. You can go up to 16, but a lot of Kickstarters that are 28 pages, they're asking $20, $25. And so I try to keep the price reasonable for backers. So, they'll come back for more.
Right. Yeah. And for everyone that's listening, that means pledge as much as you possibly can. Don't go broke, but like pledge as much as you can. Because I think we've talked about it before, and we've mentioned it on the show before, that one of our main goals is to showcase as much independent, in quotation marks, talent as we can. Like outside of like DC, Marvel, and people that clearly don't need
Yeah.
giant publicity for things. Like, we really want to try to showcase as much as we can, just because I think for like I have a lot of friends. Like I think you probably know this. Like, I collect a lot of comics,
Mhm.
and like unique artwork, like things that are more unique and interesting to find. And like I have a lot of friends that read a lot of comics, like primarily like Marvel or DC stuff, and like they'll know that like independent comics are a thing, but like they're like, oh, I've never really seen them, or like I don't really know like where to find these things at. Um, and so like that's why we're trying to showcase stuff like Dime Store Detective, because it's like people who are interested in different things. Like, if you want more variety, then you got to support more variety.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a trust issue too. They trust Marvel, they trust DC. It's you know, um, a brand name, and so they're taking kind of a leap of faith when they support a Kickstarter or indie. But I can tell you without any doubt to me that I believe my comics are every bit as good as anything DC and Marvel are doing. There's only so many Spider-Man stories and Superman stories out there.
Right. Yeah. When
People
you
should
Yeah.
encourage people to, even if it's not mine, look into some more indie comic books, because there's a lot of terrific stories out there. I know Image is kind of indie and it's not indie, but um,
Yeah. It's
if
kind of in that
you,
weird gray area.
yeah, if you like Ed Brubaker's his noir stories, then I think you really like Dime Store Detective. I'm a big Ed Brubaker fan. I love his Fatale and his Reckless books, and they definitely. I mean, not to say I'm anywhere near the level at Brubaker, but you know, it's they got that similar feel, that noir feel, that mystery to it that threads throughout the story. That's so fun and keeps you coming back for more. And I believe that Dumpster Detective I leave at a pretty good cliffhanger for
Right.
issue one. So
Yeah. And without like giving everything away, obviously, because we want people to pledge and get all the issues. What's like the general tone of the progression for the story in terms of like 1 to 2? Not without
yeah,
giving away the details. It's like that general kind of tone.
yeah. Well, issue one's always the toughest one for me, and I think for a lot of writers, because you're trying to establish the story, set it up, and get to know these characters, get to care about your main character, so you're invested into it all within 24 pages. It's tough.
Right.
Where with a superhero story, the kid gets bit by a radioactive spider, takes the mantle to be Spider-Man. Where with something like this,
Yeah.
you're building this mystery and this story, and obviously you don't want the reader to figure it out after issue one, and you
Right.
want to stick around. So with issue one, we get introduced. I believe it starts out pretty cool, pretty unique. I have a prologue with Dumpster Detective. We start out with the father writing a letter to his son, which gives us a good kind of feel and foreshadowing. That's what a prologue is supposed to do. This ominous tone to what's to come and kind of set things up. And then we get right into the murder scene of this naked woman in a Christ-like pose hanging from a tree. If that doesn't get your
Right.
attention, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what does.
Yeah.
And this kind of maverick detective that people in the department hate because he goes against the brass. He goes against, he's kind of his own man and doesn't play the politics of it. And he's kind of carrying the family flame for all these years, because his family are known from their moonshine war 40 years ago as these ruthless killers who, killed all these people in their war. And so he's kind of out there to say, hey, my dad is actually a great man, and he's been perceived for all these years wrong by the people in the county. He ends up, becoming this detective, and maybe his father isn't this ruthless murderer that we're led to believe as the story kind of unfolds. So, and then we
Right.
go back in time 40 years ago, and in the pages, the present time is in color, and 40 years ago, those pages are in black and white, to not just give that noir feel, but to help differentiate when we go forward and backwards. Because most of us, when we read a comic, we don't want to have to think too much.
Yeah.
I don't want to confuse
Yeah.
anybody.
it's the escape, not I'm watching Inception in print form.
Exactly. So I use the KISS method as much as I can to keep it simple, stupid.
It is as simple as that saying is. It really does hold credence to a lot of things these days.
Yeah, because if they start out and they get confused, then in the beginning you kind of lost them. So
right, and especially like you were saying, like with Kickstarters, like trying to get past that, like mental block of like, well, I don't know who this person is that's designing this comic. Like, who's to say that I'm going to get what I'm paying for, and blah blah blah. I know Kickstarter has like pretty strict rules on being allowed to do another Kickstarter if you're like not doing certain things, adhering to like how they like the system. So Kickstarter does have a good system like built in for anyone listening.
I get okayed for my project within seconds because I've always fulfilled on time. Haven't had any issues, and like I said, this is my 5th Kickstarter, so you won't have to worry about getting your issue and in a timely manner. With issue 1, I needed to get some capital before I continued on, so there was about a 4-month before I could ship the comic, which is not bad. But with issue 2, the issue is like almost, I'd say it's about 7/8 of the way completed. So issue 2 is almost done. There's only by the time the Kickstarter ends, it'll probably be completed, and then just paying for the printer.
Right. Yeah, and then like getting obviously like get stuff shipped out and kind of go from there.
Yeah, there's some Kickstarters that I supported 6 months ago. I still haven't got my comic book, so you won't have to worry about that with my comics.
Yeah, as I say, you're pretty quick at like getting your stuff out there is like as soon as you can. Which is obviously like always nice to see. Do you have a like we'll get ready to be showing some of the stuff for issue 2 here in a second, but do you have like a time frame in your mind of like when this one closes to then go into issue 3? Like, do you try to let stuff like, because I know we talked about going to some conventions, so like are you going to try to like let the con scene go for a little bit before issue 3 might kind of kick in?
Well, like I said, I'm going for punishment. I'm going right into issue 4 of Alpha Dogs. Issue 3 was successful, and so now people have been, and I got a lot of positive feedback for issue 3. So the Alpha Dogs, again, issue 1 kind of introduces the characters, this kind of set things up, and then issue 2 was building to issue 3. And if anybody's read issue 3, it ends on a really good cliffhanger, I think. And I have received the most positive reviews and feedback of anything I've done from Alpha Dogs issue 3. So I'll be going into issue 4 here as soon as the Kickstarter for this one ends. Not launching it, but building, because it really, for me, I need at least 2 months of hype to build before I launch the Kickstarter. So I'll be doing that for Alpha Dogs, and so I'm thinking about 3 months I'll launch, 2 months maybe launch Alpha Dogs issue 4, and then start on dime stores. But yeah, I definitely need to build up a lot more backers and fans with the comic cons. I just started the cons. I went to 2 last year, and I've already been to, I think I've been to 4 this year so far, and hopefully we'll just keep on going to obviously get more people interested. So I've had some pretty good success so far, mostly off Alpha Dogs. People really, when they come to your booth and see a big poster of this dog here, they kind of stop dead in their tracks.
Yeah, it's like it's very eye catching. Like I'm sorry, what's that? Which again is what you want. You want to have that con eye, because I mean there's so many people walking by like the entire day. Like you want that like eye popper of like wait, what did I just see? Like I got to go back and check out this
I just at my last one I just got big. I've been kind of building as I go, because obviously it's expensive, but now I got these big banners for Alpha Dogs. And if you go to my Facebook page or any of my social media, you'll see for my last one, these big banners I have of Dime Store and Alpha Dog. So it's pretty eye catching.
Yeah. I mean, I personally really like it, but let me bring up the Kickstarter link here, and we'll do the trailer last, but we'll kind of go over some of the covers here. So
so that's cover A. That's $12. That's the Mackiner. They're called the Mackiner brothers, and they're actually cousins, but they're like brothers. They're a year apart. They're as close as brothers, but they're technically cousins, but they're known throughout the county as the Mackinder brothers, the guys that, are kind of feared and respected. And here they're in a cave in the Appalachian Mountains that they stumble upon in issue 2. And there's this evil entity that's trapped in there that may or may not, may or may not be some repercussions for these two when they end up inadvertently in this cave.
Yeah, you'll have to make sure you pledge so you can find out.
Yeah.
I think here's the second one.
And, yeah, that's a great one. Phil Russert, his guys did it. Gary and Alex, they're terrific. That's a scene. So in issue 1, we end with this boy, this teenager, seemingly possessed, holding this priest hostage at a church, and he is insisting on seeing Detective Mackinder because he has a message for him that he must deliver. And if you tune in for issue 2, then you'll find out what that very foreboding message is.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, and this is my favorite.
Yeah,
this is 16.
Yeah, so that was a Dukes of Hazzard we were talking about.
Yeah. So that's the Barracuda that. So on, I don't know if it's gonna be my left or right. So on one side is Detective Mackinder in the present. He's the one with the suit on, with, as you can see, the structures. This is the president. On the other side of the Barracuda is 1981 with the father sitting on the Barracuda. And as you can see from the architecture, you've got the old movie theater in the background with the Evil Dead and Clash of the Titans, which of course is foreshadowing for what's to come. But that's pretty cool. And of course the ominous being watching down on them. So it's one of my favorite covers. They did a great job. And like I said, if anybody's familiar with moonshining, that's how NASCAR got started, was moonshiners trying to outrun the cops. And this is what these guys use, is the 1973 Barracuda with a Hemi motor, and it ends up getting passed down to the son. So he's driving that throughout the series. I wanted, a car that kind of was a character in itself, like General Lee or the Supernatural car. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Cars have become a thing where in certain shows they just become iconic. I mean, like Knight Rider's a little different because the car talked, but yeah, like you're saying, like the General Lee or like Supernatural, where the car literally became its own toy because it became such an iconic thing in the show, which is just pretty crazy. I just want to make sure I show some of the rewards here.
Yeah, you can get the PDF for issue 1 for $5, and like I said, issue 2 is 4 more pages, so I bumped it up only $1 for the PDF. So that's $6 for issue 2, and together $11.
Which is like nothing compared to like what some of the stuff we pay for is.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you're getting over 50 pages of comic for $11.
Yeah, which is more than reasonable.
I believe so.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm showcasing
as
much as I can, so anyone watching this later can get an idea of.
That's one of the cool ones.
Some of the rewards.
Here we go. My wife does a custom Barracuda package for one of the rewards. It's pretty cool of the Barracuda.
Yeah, I gotta say, like we were just talking about cars becoming literally their own toys.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff, and here you go. Again, I think a lot of it too. Again, for me, for anyone that's listening, is the quality is up there. We wouldn't be recommending something or wanting to talk about it if we didn't feel that the quality was there.
Yeah, and if you missed out on Alpha Dogs, there's one of the rewards called the Mega Bundle. You get every comic I've done. You get all the covers from issue 1 and issue 2 of Dumpster Detective. Then you also get 1, 2, and 3 of Alpha Dogs. So if you missed out on that, and again, that's been a really enjoyable story for a lot of people. It's about these dogs that have the ability, these 2 dogs, a pit bull and this older, grumpier pit bull, have the ability to heal from most any wound. They're smart enough to understand human speak, and they also have a slightly heightened strength. Them and their owner are on the run from mercenaries that are attempting to kidnap the dogs to manipulate their abilities, to give you the elevator pitch of Alpha Dogs.
Right. Yeah, again, I very much enjoy the start on that one too. And I want to make sure we play the trailer here. So let me Let me full screen this so I can set it up. Now, just to set up, is this a trailer for like over encompassing, or is this a trailer dedicated to kind of like
Encompassing,
issue
yeah,
two?
no, it's
Okay.
encompassing both issues. It kind of gives you a little bit of a sneak peek of both the issues, and yeah, it's I'm very proud of it. It's really cool. I didn't put it together. I wrote the script for it.
Right.
Came up with the music for it. So it's, if it doesn't get your attention, if it want to make you buy the issue, I'm pretty much out of ideas.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a look here. Let me turn down the volume a little bit. I know StreamYard amplifies audio really high.
Oh. I can't hear anything from this, and maybe it's just me. I can't hear anything. But.
Let me.
No, I don't have to hear it as long as the audience can hear it.
It should be.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, that's some good music.
Yeah, I think so. I think it gives a good tone. So hopefully they trust enough that I know how to put together a pretty cool trailer that I can put together a pretty cool comic too. So.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I'm making sure I share the link here.
Yeah.
And we're about at the 30-minute mark, which kind of the plan.
Yeah.
You have any kind of like final message for everyone out there for like helping support not only like Dinosaur Detective, but obviously like Alpha Dogs as well? Like any final thing you'd want to share with everyone?
Oh yeah, it's just you can see plenty of reviews online out there if you want to learn more about it, or you can text me or hold me on social media and ask me, or look at some of the trailers. I offer some preview pages if you'd like. There's some in both the campaigns. There's like 6 pages. With issue 2, I took like somewhere in the middle just to kind of go back and forth. Not the best preview pages, but I wanted something to show the transition between past and present. But yeah, you can always look at some preview pages if you'd like, and read some reviews. They're out there, and people, like I said, have seemed to really enjoy Dinosaur Detective and Alpha Dog. So yeah, you can pick them all up. And again, I know people don't know me from Adam, but if you watch the trailers and enjoy them, then that gives you a snippet of what's to come. So
yeah. Yeah, I agree. And for anyone listening, whether it's now or if you're listening down the road, I've been always very adamant about the fact that I would never have on someone in the first place if I didn't believe in the work or what was being shown. Not only bringing, having you on for the third time being today of getting you on to kind of promote the Kickstarters. Like, so for anyone that's listening, that is like, yeah, one of those. If you've been listening to the show for 2+ years now. Hopefully you trust my opinion a little bit and know that I wouldn't recommend something if I didn't personally believe in it myself. And especially like me and John said earlier, a lot of us out there always talk about wanting more content, more variety, and Kickstarters like these is our opportunity to help showcase different talent. When it comes to like the people who are coloring it, designing it, like everyone who's a part of these projects, the more we can showcase this work is the more that we're going to get that variety that we're all wanting in different things. So like I said, the links are shared on both the YouTube and the Facebook page. We're $100 away from the main goal of $2,000, $109 to be specific. So let's do what we can to get that over that $2,000 threshold. And in addition to that, we're going to be, if you caught the tail end of this and you're like, oh, I missed it. Don't worry. It's on Facebook and YouTube. So you can always go back and replay it right now, or we're going to be replaying this leading up to the Kickstarter being done, to just try to help what we can do in pushing it over the edge. So John, like I said, I really appreciate you coming on for a third time. So I haven't.
No, I really appreciate you showcasing the comics. It means a whole lot.
Oh yeah, anytime. I guess like we kind of said earlier, maybe next time Sam will care enough to meet you.
Yeah, that'll be important.
We'll get there. I'll get a text later when she eventually watches this and texts me and goes, "What the hell? Like I wasn't even there, and you had to say something." But it's just it's what I do. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this interview that we do. We're trying to ramp up the amount of live interviews that we're doing as we get stuff rolling. Don't forget, every podcast episode of the month of April is going to be sponsored by Lake Effect Games. So stay tuned for episodes the next couple weeks. We'll go into a little bit more detail about that. And while I got you guys now, don't forget end of October, the Fan Effect's going to be involved in Indie Pods, which is an independent podcast association that we've been doing for the last couple years. So we're going to be involved in that again. So you can follow up with us on that kind of stuff. But don't forget, guys, new episodes every Friday morning, bright and early. Tomorrow's episode is going to be centered around Star Trek. So if you're listening to this after this point, you can be like Star Trek and just go back and listen to the past episode because why not? Share all the love. But again, John, I super appreciate it. For anyone who tunes in at any point, if you want, if you can't find John's information, you want it from me, or you want additional links that you couldn't find on your own, feel free to ping me on the side. Let me know, and I'll send it. I'll send any of the links that I can if anyone that asks for them. And just again, guys, just support the independent Kickstarters that are there. It's okay to ask these guys questions. Like John's already indicated, they're more than happy to answer things if you're curious about stuff. So make sure you guys stay tuned, keep up with stuff, enjoy different fandoms, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for an episode for the podcast, and we'll see you guys very soon for another live show.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Let me